control. What did you find within yourself that you had to do?
Control my temper. That was the biggest issue I had was when I was younger. I definitely had a temper. I still have a temper. I just have to control my temper now. In this lifestyle, one of the tricks that I do for myself is, and I can apply it to everything that I do, if I don't do anything when I'm angry, because I'm like everybody else. I can get angry at things. You don't punish when you're angry in this lifestyle. You do punish people. Calm down, you know, leave the room, do whatever you have to, control yourself. People respect you more. You know, you don't do anything when you're not level-headed. That was one of the biggest things I had to learn, was how to control my own temper, how to control myself. Next thing would be figuring out what my own desires really were. What do I want from a submissive for me? It isn't, you know, I couldn't go by the people that were teaching me, because I have to know what I want myself out of somebody. And then I have to find somebody that's compatible with that, or somebody that has the potential to be compatible, because with the wife I have, I was much more experienced in this lifestyle. I had tried things and done things that she didn't even know when she was reading them what they were, you know, so I had to explain some of this. And it isn't so much, you got to find somebody who has the potential to be compatible, especially if you have a lot of experience. It's very, it can be quite complicated at times, but I've always been fortunate that I've always had to work around people and read people, and even in aviation, I was very always involved with customers, passengers, whatever. So you got to learn to read people a little bit. And in this lifestyle, you really got to do it a whole lot more. But once I learned to control my temper and figure out my own wants and desires were, the rest is more mechanical type things, which anybody can learn those. You know, it's and some people won't learn them well, but anyway, all right, next. I know a couple things in here will be edited out. Giggly.
She's writing a book.
Either that or he's going to keep it in here and everybody's going to wonder what the hell's going on.
The historical aspects, like what do you know about sort of like how this came about?
Actually, if you go back even to medieval times, and this is going to shock a lot of people, because one of the things, because I was researching this specifically, knights were considered submissive to the maidens. They were at their beck and call, and they were actually the submissive in the relationships. And that was the word that was used, because I was looking up some things about medieval times, and this is, you know, when I was coming across all this, and part of the reason I was last name Knight, I wanted to find out about knights. So I can go back to medieval times what was happening. Now, the group I started with in Florida, their group started in the 1920s. It was never a large group, but it had always been there, and they've been refining it ever since. And then there's what people call Old Guard, which is gay leather community, which did a lot of the things in the 50s about this lifestyle. I honestly, I'd have to say this type of lifestyle's been around forever. There's always been something. one of the things that's misleading is the Marquis de Sade. He just, even though that's where we get sadism from, the term sadism, he's not considered a part of the history of this lifestyle. He was an abuser. He was a killer. It really wasn't part of this lifestyle. So, like I said, even though people will associate his name more with this lifestyle than anybody else's, it really isn't, which I've always found interesting too, but, we just take the names that are given sometimes.
You think that's because it's the mainstream that makes the name?
Yes. Well, I mean, granted, he'd like to inflict pain on people, and that's where the S in BDSM is sadism, inflicting pain. But to the extent that somebody like that would do it, that's unconscionable for anybody that's responsible in this lifestyle.
Which is one of the things I remember when I talked to you before was that symbol and what the aspects of that is.
There's a symbol which is basically it's a circle divided into 3 equal pieces with holes in between. I'm not sure if you could even see this, but it stands straight. But anyway, each portion of this, it means 2 things. One part of it means DS, another part means BD, bondage and discipline, and the last portion would be sadism and masochism, SM. And that's the 3 pieces that make up this lifestyle. And of course, other people have put a different meaning to it too, which is safe, sane, and consensual, which that's their prerogative. I don't necessarily agree with that term. It sounds nice on paper, and it sounds nice to let everybody know all this, but one of the things I tell people is, yeah, you try to be safe, but you can always hurt somebody doing this. I mean, let's be realistic. You take a flogger to somebody, how safe is that sometimes? It's not. How sane is it? Well, society's going to tell you this isn't very sane at all. Or consensual? Yes, it's consensual. That's about the one that it is. But you see, if you're a lot of people that use the SSC, the safe, sane, consensual, they're not in relationships either. There's a big difference between the two. I mean, it's like somebody just dating as opposed to somebody being married. We don't use safe, sane, and consensual in this house. We're in a relationship. We know each other. We trust each other. We don't have to practice that because we're always going to be careful. We're always not going to do anything that's going to cause harm to the other person. So for us and the friends that we associate with, since we know so well, these are not, things that are an issue to us. I mean, but for somebody else who's like a single person, to me, the SSC, that's the same as somebody being dating and making sure they use a condom so they don't pick up a communicable disease. So it has its purpose, but not, for us itself. We don't need it. And the people we associate with, we know too much about each other that we even worry about something like that.